Hello.
Samuel!
Here we are.
It's the day. It is release day.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
The end of a very long journey.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know where to begin. I was just popping into Twitch streams and seeing people who are playing, and everybody's loving it. Everybody, the thing that I'm loving the most is everybody's reading all of the lore.
Of
I mean,
course. Yeah.
not of course. Not of course. Some people don't do that, but I think that Remedy fans know like this if you're going to be in the Remedy extended universe with us, you have to read everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I think with Control we established this as an idea, and we've been continuing on the same path with Alan Wake 2 for sure.
Yeah. How long ago did you greenlight Alan Wake 2? Like, let's talk about how long it's taken to get to today.
Well, we wanted to do a sequel immediately after the first game. So this is 2010.
Right.
But it, you know, as it is with big games and movies and TV shows and everything, it's really, really hard to get them going. Even if you have great ideas, that's a tiny part of getting it going, really.
Right.
So it didn't work out then. But then again, like us pitching it to Microsoft transformed the idea into another game, which was Quantum Break.
And that's where I entered the picture.
Yes,
because that was
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's all good and all part of the plan, and yeah, like I mean, how we met really was one of the writers in Quantum Break was Tyler Burton Smith, who moved to Finland to be part of our writing team. But towards the end of Quantum Break, he moved to LA to work on film and TV, and you guys met.
I mean, I like how you say we met. Like, I absolutely stalked every single one of you. Like, let's not make any bones about this. You're being very kind about the method in which we met. I played Quantum Break, and I was like, who the fuck made this thing? I could see all of the mixed medium moments. I felt like, oh, this studio is pushing games so much more than, you know, and I'd already started working in games by that point, so I like knew just enough shit to be like, oh, this is special, you know? So so then once I found all of the acts of Time Knife, that's when I like reached out, and that's when I found Tyler, and I like knew one of the cast members, and then I like coerced everyone into coming over to this house, and then we did the live reading of Time Knife,
which
and I like
was absolutely hilarious
and
wonderful, and that's the kind of like we really been talking ever since.
yes. But I mean, listen, I was always selfishly hoping that you would call me to be a part of something. Like, let's make no bones about it. But I've always just been a fan first as a gamer. I just think what you and your beautiful brain does, and all of the people that I've now been lucky enough to meet that work with you, what you guys do is so weird and so special and is constantly pushing. So, you know, I was like, please, like, that would be great one day, but I don't think I ever outright asked you, or I don't know if I ever asked
No, but
you.
I
You
think
can tell. You can tell.
we were talking about it would be great to work together at some point.
Yeah.
And obviously then all the way to True Control and then to early days of Alan Wake 2, and knowing already during Control that FBC absolutely will be part of Alan Wake 2, and the kind of the whole idea of the lake house and FBC monitoring the whole Qualtron Lake and the Altered World event that keeps on recurring there and fencing off the whole lake and all of that. All of those ideas were already there in Control, and especially the AWE DLC that was the kind of final part of Control. And Esteves was mentioned already there.
Yes, she was.
And the idea of Esteves as a field agent always was that it would be a character for you to play, and so yeah, that's it's been there for quite a while, and then we got to do it for the main game, but we were already talking that in DLC it would be wonderful to have Esteves as a proper hero playable character, and well, Lake House is out today. Finally.
Aww.
Long journeys. Long journeys.
Do you feel like your games are objects of power?
I don't know. Well, I do feel that there is absolutely something special and magical just getting something like this made, and so much passion poured into it. So every one of these kind of passionate projects, I feel like, that have art in them, be it a game, be it a movie, a TV show, a book, anything really. It is a small miracle that it happens, and that it is allowed to
exist,
go through and appear into the world for people to experience. Mm-hmm. So yeah, for sure. And you know, in all of this, I love the meta layer of all of this, and it's certainly very visible in our games in many ways. I've always been like, for the game stories, there is a lot of themes drawn just from the struggle of making them and getting them made.
Or even just getting them out of yourself.
Yeah, sure.
To be able to communicate to the other people that you need to help then make it physically exist. Yeah.
I mean, teamwork, very much teamwork, absolutely wonderful collaborators, like the whole Remedy team, so talented, brilliant people, all of them. Now in the Lake House, like Kyle Rowley, who co-directed the main game with me, and he was directing this and actually both of the DLCs, and Clay Murphy writing the screenplay for this one. You met Clay, obviously, as part of the shoot. Molly Maloney on narrative design, mm-hmm. Jokinen on art direction. Brilliant people and wonderful to work with. So it's never alone. Like, games just, I mean, small indie games, sure, can be done by somebody on their own, but these bigger games, like they just need a very talented and dedicated team to create them. And yes, the challenge is, like, you have the vision early on, communicating that vision and finding a way to put it into words and explain it, and endless hours of workshopping and talking about it.
It's
and
you know, miracle.
with Mikael Kasurinen, who directed Control, so much struggle along the way of us wanting to create something weird, but then especially early on is not that kind of weird, this kind of weird. and that was such a long journey to kind of like, you know, find exactly what is it that we are aiming for.
Yeah, but okay, so let's go back to objects of power for a second. Like, when did you even come up with the idea of making that, like really focusing on that in the game extended universe that you've created? Like, I obviously, as an artist, everything that I make, I do feel the power within it, and you hope that somebody else does, you know? But when did you decide, oh yeah, okay, that's going to actually be the center of all of this?
I think, in
like,
a way,
were you standing somewhere in Finland and you were like, that's what I'll do, that's what, and this is what it feels like, and like, what, you know, where did it, what was the moment?
You know, as a kid growing up, and my family spending our summer vacations in an apple farm by a lake, like in a cabin that my parents were renting for something like 16 years, me and my brother growing up, and spending every summer there. I was always really fascinated by junk, like, you know, all kinds of rusty, broken things that you would have in the corners of a barn or on a farm. I was really fascinated by that, and with a lot of imagination, imagining what these things would be. And one treasured thing that I had was this old light switch that I called the clicker, which because of the sound that it made.
Sure, yeah.
Almost like this stress toy in a way.
Okay,
you know?
Yeah.
And I had it with me, and I played with it, and then at some point I lost it and moved on to something else. But when I wrote this was me after Max Payne at the Theatre Academy of Finland studying screenwriting for film and TV, and I wrote a Finnish horror movie screenplay as part of it, called Undertow. Well, the Finnish name is different, okay, but anyway. Right. And I said it on that apple farm where I grew up as a setting, and the main character finds this old light switch from his childhood, and it turns out to be a magical thing that keeps the horrors away. And then when we got to working on Alan Wake, I just very much stole all the ideas from this horror movie screenplay that I had written earlier.
Feeling when it's your idea, you know.
Yeah, sure, but I kind of feel that it kind of is, and I do a lot of that, but like they were already essentially there was this creepy old witch lady, Baba Yaga, who turned into Barbara Chacker in Alan Wake. There were the crazy Swedish brothers, Anderson brothers, who may be Viking gods or maybe not. So there were plenty of things in that screenplay that I just took and used as part of the story of Alan Wake. But I think that going back to an object of power, I think that was really the first object of power in the Remedy connected universe. And to me, like, I'm fascinated by, you know, mechanical stuff and technical stuff that's not kind of, you know, your latest things, but you know, slightly
analog piece.
Yeah, exactly, like an analog TV, a kind of a classic telephone.
Yeah.
You know, these kinds of objects to me are kind of like suitably creepy, but also kind of have this mystical feel to them. And that ended up then being kind of the certain type of idea and guideline for what an object of power or altered item in control turned out to be. These kind of like collective unconscious, you know, objects that everybody thinks as the first thing when somebody says telephone. And obviously that's evolving through the years, but it's always leaning slightly backwards. And that was kind of like one of our design ideas for Alan Wake as well, that let's make it kind of timeless. And that's partly inspired by David Lynch and Twin Peaks as well, which is like, it's kind of leaning backwards. It's supposedly present day when it was coming out, but it kind of felt like a 50s thing a bit, and so which in a funny way makes it timeless and makes it, you know, even now if you watch it, it feels fresh and it doesn't feel dated.
Right.
So that was kind of the idea in Alan Wake as well, and that was the idea a lot in Control as well. So that's kind of a thing in Remedy Connected Universe overall.
You know, I don't think, well, I think all artists are just evolving ideas that came to us when we were really little. You know, when our imagination was at its peak and when we were absolute sponges. I know that when I'm writing something, I'm thinking about the most vulnerable, deepest, darkest part of myself and asking myself, like, why am I scared of that?
Yeah.
What's that really about?
I mean, it is like the fears I feel, and definitely in Alan Wake are these kind of very primal things that we are scared, like we are scared of darkness because we, you know, there might be something lurking there, and our imagination starts to kind of like play tricks, and kind of like our instincts start to warn us that you know, you better get away because something might be there stalking you.
Yeah.
And the same feeling like, you know, I love, since very little, I've loved swimming, and in Finland with thousands of lakes, you know, usually you are swimming in a lake, but that feeling, especially when it starts to turn into the fall and it gets darker, and the water in the evening, it's just pitch black, and then you dive in, and you don't see anything, but then you know, start imagining things, what could be lurking. You know, you dive deeper and it's cold, the water is really chilling. So all of these, you know, very much part of Alan Wake, the fear of darkness, the fear of dark, deep water, they're very much present there. So yeah, I agree with you. It's something I feel you grow ever more aware when you are growing older, that you know, games and films and TV and books and comic books and anything that is an inspiration, certainly you are looking for new ones.
Yeah.
You are finding them more and more rarely. Like, you might enjoy something a lot, but then you pretty soon forget. You know, it doesn't stay with you in the same way as certain things growing up that just absolutely blew your mind when you first experienced something or saw a certain film, or read a certain book. And I find myself with all the new stories always drawing drawing from those same sources, even if there are new elements coming in and new ideas coming in, but certain parts always go, which was, you know, scary films in your teenage years, or as an early adult you saw and like, oh my God, you were so moved by something. And it's kind of like, you know, we are being bombarded by so much content these days, like it's coming from every direction and so much of it, and there is this kind of a, especially I feel for people working in creative areas, you kind of like get bad conscious. Like you start feeling like I should be following all of this. I should be staying on top of all of it.
Right. Like, why haven't I seen them?
I can't miss this. But at the same time, it's not really true. I think that we have already now, we have so much in us that we could just use it and keep on creating as long as we can keep on creating. And it would still be fresh because it is filtered through your, you know, ideas.
Yeah. Okay. Agreement. People who are in the chat, if you have questions, bring them in. I think there's actually like a question thing you can do. I don't know. Do the question thing. My first question for you, Sam, is what scares you now? Not when you were a kid. What scares you now?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, I think I think it's the same things for all of us, really. You know, you get stressed and your threshold, like you know, as with Alan Wake too, like you know, working really hard for a very long time. You get stressed and you start to worry about your health in various ways, and you fear that what if you won't get this made, or what if you know, that these very kind of like ordinary things, really, you know, tied to your work, tied to your health, tied to, you know, your loved ones, like I mean, those are the things that kind of the very ordinary things.
Things.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think that also makes me, I mean, you are a very well-adjusted person. You are not, I mean, yeah, I know. We're none of us really are perfect, but like, I've worked with a lot of creators, and not all of them are good people that I want to know in real life. Not all of them can create fully without making excuses for their behavior along the way. You know, I heard someone was talking about like an actor, and they're like, you know, he's just mercurial, you know, he's just like enigmatic. I'm like, no, he's depressed and he's not getting out of bed. It's not that he's unavailable to the world. He's not handling his clinical depression, which people can help you with. You know, like, you know, like you can just handle your health, your mental health, and the people around you, and handle the ordinary things and still be extraordinary. In fact, it will help you be extraordinary. So I just think you're an example of that. And it's cool to hear that the guy that makes really creepy shit is actually like worried about the ordinary things. That's great. And also, ordinary objects are things of power in your games. So it's like, it works.
Yeah.
It all works.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, yeah, I tend to be skeptic in many ways. Like I grew up falling in love with Lord of the Rings, and then I moved on to Norse mythology and Edda poems, and always have loved all the mythology and all kinds of fantasy stories and horror stories and everything. But it's just like it's the stimulating thing for your imagination, and out of that comes ideas that you want to put into the stories. But at the same time, I don't really kind of I don't believe in that in that kind of a sense. I love it as material, and I love drawing from that, and but that kind of a thing, like yeah, yeah.
So, okay, wait, I'm going to take some questions. What's your favorite movie of all time?
So I need to stop immediately, say this. The hardest question to ask me is, what's your favorite this and that?
Okay, so then give me like a top four.
Because I also overthink, and I suck at that. I can say things, sure, but do I really believe that that's my all-time really favorite?
So hard.
Yeah.
Well, what are some things that recently that you've watched, whether they're old or new? So, okay, let's just do the calendar year. Or how about this? You took some time this year, right? So in your time, what were the things that you were intaking to refill the well that you sing the praises of now?
Yeah.
Could be a book, could be movies, could be songs.
I saw the TV Glow, the film. I really loved it. It's wonderful.
Oh my God,
yes.
Sam.
I saw Longlegs. I absolutely loved that. Wonderful film. Those come to my mind of the recent ones. Maybe going a bit more back, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, those are the couple recent ones. Just watched the latest Slow Horses season with Gary Oldman. Yeah, it's comfort food. It's kind of an ancient story, but at the same time, kind of all the characters are kind of losers in some ways.
Cool.
And yeah, it's nice entertainment. For sure.
Longlegs felt very Remedy. I saw the TV Glow that movie is so special. Have you seen her other films? She made another film called We're All Going to the World's Fair. Have you seen that?
No, I have not. Yeah, well,
it's
I will look it up. For
very,
sure.
very special filmmaker. Yeah, yes. Okay, so I'll have to watch what's it called? Slow Horses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you read a lot of books?
I like growing up, I was mostly reading books.
Like eating.
and comic books. And excuse me. Really loved them. And then went to the Helsinki University to even study literature, and was reading plenty more. I've noticed that in the couple of past years, I've been reading less, or being able to focus and concentrate on reading way less, which makes me sad. And I was thinking on a long break that I had over the summer that I would want to read, but I didn't really get into it that much. yeah. So that's something I'm trying to get back to. The funny thing is that I keep buying books at the same rate as I'm always done. So I have bigger and bigger piles of unread books everywhere.
Can you listen?
I love books, but it's somehow like with social media, with everything, and with so much happening at work and all, it's harder to find that focused time to read.
Do you know what Meow Wolf is?
I have no idea.
Okay. How long are you in the States when you come next?
A couple of weeks.
Is it like packed? Because I just want you to go to Albuquerque. I mean, Santa Fe.
Yeah, so, won't happen.
That's gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
This year, no.
There are a few different Meow Wolves, and they're basically like they're just like multiverses. It's like being thrown into like a multiverse threw up, and it's incredible. And there's just like all these rooms, and you walk into them, and every single room, a different visual artist or visual team has taken over, and it's so incredible. It's a complete mind fuck, and it's just one of those things like you just have to see it to believe it. I've been to the one in Vegas, and I've been to the one in Santa Fe, but I think there's one in Austin. But I'll send you information on it, because it's one of those things where it's like whenever you bring your family out here, like this, you're gonna have to go, because there's something about it that is just you. It's just like you're gonna want to experience.
A very good sales pitch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like you are of it, and it is of you. Okay, let me find another question. Are you ever planning to publish the horror story that inspired Alan Wake? I would love to read it, says Spencer.
Yeah, I don't think I would publish it as it is, which is
you would do
is a movie screenplay in Finnish. so no, but who knows? Like, I mean, there are so many interesting, cool project ideas and opportunities out there. I would love to do other things beyond games. You know, like we already did a lot of live action. It would be fun to do more of that. It would be lovely to write a novel at some point. It would be, I would love to do comic books. You know, all of these ideas, but there is only limited amount of time.
Right.
And games.
And then also doing them on a certain level requires just your entire self. So I don't understand how there's some people that, I mean, the truth is the people that have like a million different things, they have various people helping them to some degree.
Sure, yeah.
You know, like whether they're ghostwriters or whatever, it's like, but when you're doing something at its highest level in the way you do, you have to choose wisely. Wait, I want to ask you about the film that is in Alan Wake too. The production of it.
Yeah.
First of all, your performance is fabulous. You're very good at it.
Coming from you, thank you.
But like properly, you're a real actor. Like in that, it shows that you're a real actor. You can act. So talk to me about when did you decide you were going to do it? Like how long did you shoot? I mean, I just kind of want to talk about the production of it.
Well, it's obviously tied to the overall live action idea of using live action, and like I love it, and I wanted to bring it to our games for really from Max Payne on, and obviously back with Max Payne, with those in-game televisions, like back then we couldn't even do video textures. So it was just, you know, slides with VO and audio escape. But the idea kind of like was there that, okay, if this is a contemporary world, we should have programs coming out of televisions, and just with the world building, the whole idea with Max Payne was that all the stuff that he has inside of him should be reflected into the outside world. So it's worst winter storm in the century when he's in horrible turmoil. So that's, you know, brought up to the world he faces. And all the TV shows in Max Payne 2 were kind of like mocking him or reflecting his story in different genres, kind of. And obviously then that idea in Alan Wake was that, well, now concretely he is a creator and he has some demons in him. Now what he writes supernaturally comes alive in the world around him. But then we could do live action, and we did Night Springs in Alan Wake. And that's kind of like, we've been doing it ever since. And now with Alan Wake 2, we just felt that with the dark place, it gives us an opportunity, because it's a shifting dream reality, that we can just merge these seamlessly in a way that we are slipping into live action scenes and coming out of them again. And now we can kind of like do this. And it was a long time coming. And so wanted to do quite a bit of that. And there were some learnings in Control also, like how to, you know, blend, do these like live action scenes, shoot it and blend it on top of the game footage as visions and all of that. So all of that was coming along. And then one location was the movie theater. And we had Thomas Zane as a filmmaker, as a character in the story. So it felt like, well, we should do, you know, his film. And I remember a meeting, and it was Anssi Määttä, who was our live action and cinematic director, wonderful, talented creator of his own, and wonderful collaborator also. And we had Mikko Riikonen, who is our cinematographer, and I came to a meeting room, and I said them, you know, went through all of these other things like writer's room and talk show. We'll do a late night talk show, and then I went, and then for the film theater we'll do a full-length feature film. And I remember them looking at me like, you know, because they have the experience and they understand what it takes, which I don't. Because, like, you know, I'm an amateur. You know, they were looking at me like I'm a crazy person. And they're like, you know.
It's a lot.
And then we talked, and then we iterated on the idea, and finally it felt like, well, but we can do a short film. And
you can do it well. You can do a short film and you can do it well.
Yeah, right. And I started from the place where, okay, we have these other sets built in the studio, like the writer's room. So let's take advantage of that. Like, I mean, let's shoot some of the short film in that set.
Yeah.
And let's use these, and we have all of these actors now. So let's use these actors.
Right.
And that was the starting point of like taking these shortcuts and taking advantage of what we were doing anyway to use as part of the short film. And that was the kind of the thinking, and let's aim for 15 minutes. And then the kind of the credits.
How long is it?
And it is pretty close to 15 minutes plus 5 minutes of credits.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're standing in that theater and you're used to interstitials when you know Remedy well, you know there's going to be some live action moments, and you're like, oh, how cool, they made this thing, that's cool, wait, it's still going? Hold on, wait, hold on. Okay, I know that there's like lights out there I gotta do, but hold on, I'm just gonna, wait, it's still going? I mean, you stand there in awe and go, holy shit, they made a film. They made
Yeah, and I mean, there were some pretty outrageous ideas kind of going into that. Like it was like, well, Thomas Zane, as a filmmaker, comes from Finland and moved to the States in the 60s, and worked on a film in Pacific Northwest and then disappeared into the dark place. And that's the setup. So this film kind of is supposedly from his early career, his period in Finland.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in Finnish,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of outrageous to begin with. And
I don't think that's I mean, I don't think that's outrageous. I think, I think one of the other really cool things about the fact that you're Finnish is that like there's not a ton of Finnish representation in, American, we'll say Hollywood. We'll just say that, right? And so the quirkiness of even just the sounds in the language adds a layer of, like, it just makes you go, oh, I don't know what to expect, because it still feels foreign to mainstream Hollywood, right? And that's like absolutely used to your advantage in everything that you make.
Yeah, it has grown on me, which is a funny thing for a Finn to say. But I,
what do you mean by
like
that?
growing up, I was so obsessed with, Western and American popular culture, and really kind of all the films and TV and comic books and everything. So starting out, I mean, Max Payne was just a kind of a love letter to all of that. But and if there were Finnish elements, they were kind of like the filter as an outsider looking at all of that material, which maybe gave it a slightly different perspective. Maybe. But also then things like, well, okay, it's gonna be a horrible snowstorm, as a setup.
Yeah.
And obviously Alan Wake then in the Pacific Northwest with all the nature, forests and everything, it felt close to home, even though in Finland everything is smaller than the scale, and no mountains or anything. So that felt close to home. But really in Control, this decisive step was Ahti, the janitor. And I just had this idea that I want to make a Finnish character who is this really kind of like goofy, quirky, but kind of also scary, and you don't know what he's about, and maybe he's an ancient god or something, and getting the biggest, one of the most respected actors in Finland, Martti Suosalo, who has done a ton of theater, a ton of leading roles, like in
absolute
films,
legend.
Yes, and he was immediately on board, like yes, of course, let's do this, and he has never worked outside Finland, I think, well, at least beyond kind of the Nordic countries, but still kind of like when we did the first test, I felt his English was too good.
Oh.
And I was like, no, I want the accent to be really clunky and thick. So and my kind of thinking was the kind of like racing English, which is a term in Finland, because like
what's the term? Erasing English?
Or? No. Race cars,
Oh, racing. like,
yeah,
okay,
rally.
Okay.
Rally English.
Okay.
Which comes from the fact that we have a lot of successful, you know, race drivers and rally drivers who've been very successful, but they are usually people who don't go to a lot of schools or anything. So they have, when they are being interviewed, they usually have a very thick accent and they speak English like they were speaking Finnish. You know how, and so there is this whole term for that. And I wanted that for Ahti. And what I ended up doing in the screenplay is that I wrote all the lines phonetically, as, not as English, but as it was Finnish. And which is just nonsense. But when you read it as a Finn,
interesting.
When you read it as a Finn, it comes out as rally English. And then we had to do a translation in the screenplay because obviously the team is very international and there are plenty of people who thought that it was Finnish, but then with the translation they were like,
oh yeah.
and then it was perfect and Marty just nailed it immediately and what's more, I wrote all of these Finnish idioms that I translated word to word into the way he talks, which obviously, idioms in different languages,
they're different.
A direct translation is nonsense.
Right.
But that's how Ahti talks. And I remember the Finns in the team were skeptical and kind of like slightly maybe feeling embarrassed and hesitant that we shouldn't maybe be doing this.
Like it felt like it wasn't representing.
Well, and maybe like, well, people will make fun of this or something. But at the same time, all the kind of like people, the international people, were really excited and feeling like we've never seen this kind of a character before. And that's how Ahti was like ended up being that he's a fan favorite. People just love Ahti as a character. And Martti went on to win the BAFTA of the best supporting role from Control. That's so cool. And I remember calling him and telling him, and he didn't even know what BAFTA is. but was obviously very, very flattered and taken, and he's wonderful, and I knew that I want to, like, in Control, obviously Ahti leaves for his summer vacation, which is very important for Finns.
Very, yes.
So some kind of a supernatural lockdown won't keep a Finn from going to his summer vacation. But we already had an idea that, well, actually it's this small town in Pacific Northwest that has been founded by Finnish immigrants. And that's where he has gone. And so setting up Alan Wake already there. But that was my starting point because the reception was so positive. Then I just felt that we'll do plenty more like Finnish culture now.
Yeah.
And certainly there is a ton of it in Alan Wake too, like, Watery, the whole small town, with the Finnish background, and the Koskela twins like have a Finnish background, and Thomas Zane comes from Finland, and so there is plenty of it. This long and winding explanation, coming back to the short film, it just felt like, well, it's going to be in Finnish, and we'll use all of these wonderful Finnish actors as part of it. So Martti as Ahti, Peter Franzen, who is a huge star, as Ilmo, and Jaakko Koskela but also in the short film as the kind of a twisted evil version, which is the Ilmari Huotari. And the idea in the whole Alan Wake story is that there are a lot of these twisted reflections, like, you know, twisted mirrors, echoes, and distorted echoes.
Which I feel like you were starting to give away on your Instagram before Alan Wake 2 had come out. And I was like, if people are paying attention to his Instagram, like, you're inside his head. You're starting to see what this world is, but you know, they didn't catch it, which is good.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, those are just things.
You just see them in the world, and then,
and like, that fascinate me.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but like, the short film was a wonderful place to do kind of a twisted reflection of this story and these characters. And it's like we kind of have Alan Wake, but it's not Alan Wake. It's kind of a dark, scary version of him, you know, who's been trapped in darkness. And then he has his fiancée, who is Baba Yagala, who is kind of Barbara Checker as a younger woman, trying to kind of like get him back from being trapped in the night and the whole cult with Huotari. And then I just decided that, well, I'm gonna play the main part, and he's the victim, you know, coming in to be sacrificed, and to kind of like get this version of Alan Wake liberated from his prison, which is, of course, in many ways echoes the story, and yeah, it was wonderful acting against these total legends of you know, Finnish actors, and they were also welcoming, and it was a wonderful learning process, kind of like doing that and going through all of it. Like, I feel that I'm a much better screenwriter now after having done it, and understanding, you know, what we are asking from actors by writing something.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, and the magic really is, which is the funny thing as well, is that it's in the game, it's totally optional, and it's almost hidden. Like, I mean, your main mission done in the cinema, you've done it, you can leave.
You can miss it.
And if you move quickly through the area, you don't even notice that there is now a film going on the big screen. And you don't need to watch it. It's not your mission and task, but you can. And there is this reverse psychology that happens when it's suddenly a secret you have discovered.
Yes.
You know, instead of here we are holding your hand, and now you need to watch this cinematic to understand the story.
Yeah.
And we are, you know, and we are not letting you skip it. Everybody hates it. Everybody goes like, oh, why are they not letting me skip it?
But if you just give people agency, they'll actually watch the entire thing.
It's like, you discovered this secret.
Yes.
Do you want this secret? Everybody goes like,
yes, tell me the secret. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it worked out pretty nicely.
It's so cool. Can people? You never released it, right? The only way you can watch the short film is if you play Alan Wake 2.
Yes, at least so far. We've been kind of discussing that maybe at some point. Like,
make them play it. Make them earn it, Sam. Make them earn it. Yeah. Okay, we should wrap up soon. We only have a few minutes left. But
Lake House.
The Lake House. The Lake House.
It's like it's wonderful to have you as Esteves and playable character. Like, it works so well, and you are great in the role, and I am sure that everybody will love playing Esteves.
I hope so. I hope so because, God damn it, I want to be in so many more things. Like, I'm like, listen, I know that you guys just, you're working with Annapurna. They have incredible taste. This is for live action stuff. If everybody in the chat hasn't realized this yet, like, there is the possibility of TV and film happening in this universe. As a fan, that's so exciting to me.
It is exciting to me as well. That said, like, really, really early days. Like we just got the contract made, and now we are in the early stages of just even talking about the possibilities.
Sure.
But like, I am hopeful, and for sure we've been trying to get something like that started for years and years and years, and it's difficult. But I feel that they are a great partner for this.
So
we'll see.
I think they're a great fit. Yeah. And I have seen every single inch of this industry at this point, especially the bridge between Hollywood and games. And I just feel like you're set up in the perfect way to really make it happen in a way that still works with the tone that you've actually created that everybody loves.
I mean, like, for sure, like, watching looking at the history of video games as film or TV.
I mean, I was in one this year,
It's been just getting so much better. Yeah. Like, I mean, The Last of Us is great.
But you can also miss the mark. So you just have to be, and it just takes one thing or person to make it all go very badly. So I'm very optimistic about Annapurna being involved. I just think that they're gonna get you, and that they'll look to you, because it's not just like they made a cool story where a thing happens and there's like objects that fans like, and we're really going to sell the merch. I mean, Remedy,
I mean, I love,
you have created a tone. There is a real universe here, and that's why we can say, like, oh, these other things that exist in the world feel like they're part of the universe, because there's a real visceral feeling that you get when you play a Remedy game. So that means you have to really be careful with it,
Yeah, but I mean, working towards the idea of Remedy connected universe, and it's been a long journey, like, and now I feel we are finally kind of like openly in it, through Control, through AWE DLC, and now through Alan Wake 2 and Lake House, like, leaning back into Control. It feels like we are only getting started, and excited about that, and really, really proud of what we achieved now with Alan Wake 2, and all the collaborations, like wonderful actors like yourself, wonderful musicians, like we
I haven't even heard the song that Poe wrote for the Lake House. I haven't even heard it. Well, I haven't played through yet.
Yeah.
So
it's great. It's wonderful. She is a wonderful artist, and I feel so lucky to have been able to collaborate with her. Like, this road is fantastic in the main game, like all the versions of it. And then we were chatting about the opportunity of another song for the Lake House. She had some things in the making, and one was 60 frets, this idea, and she was kind of like showing me bits of it, and I said that yes, this will work great, and then I went to Clay, who was writing the screenplay, and said that we can actually make this idea part of Esteves's character, that this is the way for her to deal when things get too much, too threatening on the supernatural, and so that's part of Esteves's character tied to that song, and not to spoil anything, but there is another layer that kind of is a metal layer related to the song as well. But yeah, Poe is wonderful.
Yeah.
And then we have another song that has been composed by Petri Alanko, who's done the soundtrack overall, and called End of an Era, which I wrote the lyrics for.
Really?
Just thinking about this endlessly long winding journey.
Yes.
And understanding that kind of like, you know, so many times it seems that the sequel will never be made, and then we finally made it, but certainly, like, you know, we even lost some wonderful people along the way.
Yeah.
And from that perspective, I wanted to write the lyrics essentially saying that we made this and no one can take this away from us, even though we know nothing about like the future. But it's kind of a celebration in that sense of, you know, this is the final part of Alan Wake 2 coming out, so let's acknowledge that once again. So yeah, more, you know, couple of really wonderful custom songs in there as well.
I can't wait. I mean, I was like on Twitch and I was like, oh, I don't even really want to see this because I'm going to play through, you know, and I'm like, ah. But it's funny, even when you're a performer, it's all theater of the mind. We're creating.
Sure. Yes,
you know,
it is.
Like
unless it's the live action part.
Yes, of course, unless it's live action, true. But you know, in my case, I saw the trailer, so I it had some reference photos,
yeah.
and but like I can't wait to play this today. I just can't wait. I can't wait.
But feeling really good. Like this is the now we have the whole Alan Wake 2 out. Now we have the physical deluxe edition out.
Yep.
Which is wonderful and great, and yeah, it was such a long journey.
It's
I
end of an era.
Yes, exactly. And how we did the DLCs, and this is also something that Kyle was feeling very passionate about, is that now that they are out, and when you play the deluxe edition, they are actually inside the experience. They are part of the experience. All the 3 Night Springs episodes, you will come to the televisions in the dark place where they are playing, and you can choose to go in and experience each episode as part of that flow, and the lake house will be something that playing through the saga part you will get to eventually, and then you have an option to go and experience Esteves's trip to the lake house. So it's actually placed inside the overall experience.
So
and now it's kind of a whole complete full experience.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, when you play a Remedy game, you can feel the amount of thought and care that is being put into all of these pieces. And you know, you don't really feel that as much at other studios, not going to name names, you know? But that's why it's like people play your work and they can feel the humans behind it, you know? Yeah. Okay, we should stop. But
yeah, this was great.
I can't wait to see you soon when you come back out. Everybody that's out in this chat right now, thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, go play this. Tell us what you think. And Sam, I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
It was wonderful. Yeah. See you soon, Janina.
See you soon. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.